My name is Susan Burkholder. I am a volunteer with Ransomed Life. We aim to see communities free of child exploitation through prevention, education, and counseling services. This is our awareness campaign, No Child Sold, because awareness is the only way to stop this crime from ever taking place. Before we get started with our presentation today, I want to tell you just a little bit about myself. This is me with my husband. His name is TJ. That is our grandson. His name is Ray in that picture. We share joint custody of our grandson, Ray. We spend a lot of time with him. And he is really the reason that I am passionate about bringing this information to people, because I don't want my own child to ever be exploited. So one of the things we like to do with our grandson, Ray, when we spend a lot of time with him over the summer, is to go fishing. This is a picture of Ray when he was 4 years old. He's in his Lightning McQueen pajamas there. That's the first fish that he ever caught. It's a pretty big fish for a 4-year-old to catch. And this is just another picture of us on a fishing trip. That's a fish that I caught. And so fishing is a big part of our lives. And I'm telling you that because the presentation that we're giving to you today is called Lures and Lies, keeping you safe and free from traffickers. I'm going to teach you a few terms about fishing that will help explain lures and lies to you. First of all, what is this that's there on the screen? That's a hook, right? If I take some fishing line and I attach it to that hook and I cast it out into a river, is a fish going to bite that piece of metal? Well, no. What would I need to put on that hook to have the fish bite it? Bait, right? Another word for bait is a lure. Couple different kinds of lures. What is this that's there on the screen? That's a worm, right? But is it really a worm? No, it's actually a piece of plastic, a piece of rubber. It's not actually a worm. That is what is called an imitation or an imitator lure. It is pretending to be something that it is not. It is fake. This is another kind of lure. This is called an attraction lure or an attractor lure. Does that look like something that actually swims around in a river or a lake? No, but it's shiny. And when the sunlight catches it and the fish sees it, the fish swims over and takes a bite and is caught on that hook. Those are two different kinds of lures, which we are going to be talking about today, things that are fake and things that attract attention. We're going to hear a bit from our partner in the law enforcement world, Bexar County Sheriff Javier Salazar.
Hello, I'm Bexar County Sheriff Javier Salazar. I'm speaking to you today because my priority is protecting our youth from traffickers. I fully support Ransomed Life in their efforts to help me protect our kids. Not only have I been involved with Ransomed Life for over 6 years now, I've had the pleasure of watching them grow as an organization, as well as expanding their mission. The information we're bringing you today is not from a textbook or third-hand information. The experiences, stories, and prevention tips are based on real-world experience from the Ransomed Life counselors and mentors who walk with our youth. Our message today is one of prevention through education and preparedness. Knowledge is power.
So today we're going to be talking about sex trafficking. So just to clarify, what is sex trafficking? You're probably thinking it's any time a person is sold for sex. You are correct. Anytime a sex act, whether that's online or in person, is exchanged for something of value, that is the commercial sex industry. That something of value can be a place to stay, money, drugs, to avoid a threat. All of that is considered to be part of the commercial sex industry, as is any sexually oriented business like an illicit massage parlor or a strip club. And also any type of pornography, whether those are images or pictures that are created online or in person. Pornography is part of the commercial sex industry. So anytime a minor is involved in anything that I just said, that would be considered commercial sex trafficking, and therefore that child is a victim of sex trafficking. We're going to watch a video. It's the story of a young lady named Bianca and how she was lured into the world of commercial sex trafficking.
For the first time in years, Bianca Mendoza says things are looking up. She escaped from a man in early February who she says pimped her out for years. Police arrested him days later. His name is Ariel Guizar, but he's known on social media as Shy Boy.
Do you call him Shy Boy or do you
I call him Shy.
You call him Shy?
Yeah, that's what everybody like really calls him. Like they know him by Shy.
The teen tells us she met Guizar on Instagram when she was just 15 years old.
I came across his tattooing page on Instagram and I saw he had a lot of followers and I liked his tattoos, so I would like his pictures, and then he started liking mine and he would comment on my pictures and we exchanged numbers.
Unhappy at home and after years of being in and out of the court system, she ran away, agreeing to meet up with the then 33-year-old man, thinking they would have a relationship. I asked her when it all changed.
He would have sex with other girls like in front of me and stuff like that. So I was just like, okay, like it's not like how I thought, but I don't know. And then that's when he had his friends go to the hotel room and like have them like basically do whatever they wanted with me. And when I told him about it, he didn't care.
It was that same day in a motel in San Jose when she says she first started prostituting for him.
The first time I worked for him, I only had probably like about like 5 to like 8 guys a day.
We found posts on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat. Bianca tells us he posted a video of her with a client. She tried to leave, and he forced her to stay.
So I told me that if I had anybody try to pick me up, that he would kill them before they took off with me. When I started working for him again, it was up to like more than 20 guys a day, because he would tell us, you guys have to make $1,000 and then you guys could go to sleep.
On February 7th, after 2 years of working for Guizar, Bianca says she and another girl escaped a motel room in Anaheim after, she says, he threatened to kill them both. 4 days later, she turned on the TV to see he was behind bars.
I was crying, not because like, oh my God, I'm so sad he's locked up, but because I'm relieved. I feel like, okay, he's locked up. I could go back to living my life. I don't have to worry about him keep contacting me, threatening me, telling me he's gonna post stuff about me if I don't work. Like, I feel relieved. I feel free.
So where did Bianca meet Ariel? On Instagram, right? Was Bianca looking to be pulled into the commercial sex industry, looking to be trafficked? No, she was just browsing through social media. What was the attraction lure that she saw that began to pull her in? His tattoos, right? That caught her attention. And then what was the imitation lure? What was fake? The relationship, right? Did Bianca think Ariel was actually interested in her? Yes, she did. But was he? No, he simply saw her as a way to make money, but he pretended that he wanted to be in a relationship with her. He imitated, wanted to be in a relationship with her. That was the imitation lure. So basically, traffickers cast a net. It's another fishing analogy. They cast a net out there, seeing who they can pull into the world of being sexually exploited. Did Ariel Guizar go chasing after Bianca Mendoza and snatch her? No, she was lured in little by little, thinking they would have that relationship. There are people like Ariel Guizar in chat rooms, on social media, in online gaming, and they aren't there just hanging out like you are. They are there specifically looking for the next person that they can lure into their net. And don't get caught up in these icons. The most popular place for traffickers to be is wherever you are, wherever young people are. The key is accessibility. If you're accessible, you are a potential victim. If you're online, you're accessible. What we're doing here today is to empower you with knowledge so that you can be wise when you are in chat rooms, social media, and online gaming. So in the video, the narrator said, unhappy at home and in and out of the court system for years, Bianca Mendoza did what? She ran away from home. Running away from home substantially increases your risk because you're very vulnerable when you're out on the streets? What basic needs might someone on the street have? Food, shelter, clothing, a place to charge their phone. Traffickers see those things. They see that someone has a need. They are street psychologists. They can spot a runaway within seconds. Why do you think that is? What would be some signs that someone is out on the streets on their own that a trafficker would spot? Maybe carrying a big backpack or a piece of luggage, acting nervous or scared, hanging out someplace they normally wouldn't for an extended period of time, a bus stop. Those are all places that a trafficker can spot a runaway. And traffickers will offer a place to stay, food, a place to charge a cell phone. If one of your best friends comes to you and tells you that they're going to run away, and you now know that that makes them very vulnerable, what would be some other options that you could suggest to your friend rather than running away from home? Any ideas? Perhaps you could talk to your family and see if they can come and stay with you. Perhaps you can suggest to your friend that they go stay with their favorite aunt or their grandmother, or that they seek help and try to work things out in their family situation. Just help them figure out another way, another option. So if you or someone you know is ever out on the streets and needs help, here is an option. How many of you have seen a Quick Trip or QT gas station or convenience store? Most of us have, right? Every Quick Trip QT convenience store has that yellow safe place sign in the window or on a post outside. If you find yourself out on the streets and don't know where to go to a Quick Trip. Just go in and tell the person working there that you're on the streets by yourself and you need help. The staff there are trained in what to do. They will reach out to the local safe place agency, and that agency will help you to figure out next steps. Another place in San Antonio that has this yellow safe place sign is every YMCA. So same thing, go into the YMCA and tell them you need help. And the Safe Place Agency in our San Antonio, Bexar County area is Roy Moss Youth Alternatives, RMYA. So if I were in person, I would ask you to raise your hand if you have ever heard this term sextortion before right now. Most of the audiences that we present to have not heard of this term sextortion, and it's important that we talk about it because the United States Department of Justice reports that sextortion is the fastest growing threat to 10 to 17-year-olds in the United States for sexual exploitation. Let's watch a video that explains a little bit more about that.
Okay, so you did a thing. You sent a picture of yourself with no clothes on. Something you thought wouldn't be shared. And in a polite society, cats wear clothes, right? Anyway, it seemed like a good idea at the time. But now things have gone wrong. Terribly wrong. Maybe you shared the picture with someone you loved and trusted, but after a while, things weren't so friendly. Or they said they'd help you become a star, but they just wanted to use you. Or maybe you met someone online and they really seemed to understand you, but then it got weird, and it turned out to be someone totally different. Now the person you shared the pic with is demanding more and threatening to tell. That's sextortion. Yep, that's a thing. The perpetrator relies on you feeling ashamed and keeping quiet. But they are the ones who should be ashamed. What they are doing is wrong, and it's never too late to find your voice to ask for help, or too early to reach out to your friends to tell them you'll be there no matter what. In fact, you can stop sextortion before it starts by talking about it now. With support, you can do anything, and you can focus on the important business of being cats. So tell your closest friends today you've got their back no matter what.
So to give you a definition, sextortion is the threat to expose sexual images in order to make a person do something. Is taking a nude photo of yourself sextortion? No. Is sending a nude photo of yourself to someone sextortion? No. Again, sextortion is when someone has sexual images of you, or creates images of you and uses those images to threaten you so that you will do what you want. I will illustrate with a few stories. How many of you have ever heard the term sugaring, a sugar mama or a sugar daddy? I'm going to give you an example related to sugaring and sextortion. This is a true story about a girl named Hannah, the one with the blonde hair. That's not her real name. Hannah has a friend named Maddie, the girl with the short brown hair. Maddie says to her, I have a sugar daddy. He lives in New Jersey. He pays me monies for photos and videos. I have made over $5,000 so far. He wants to be a sugar daddy for more girls. Are you interested? Hannah says, sure, as long as I don't have to do anything with him, actually. So Maddie shares the contact information of the sugar daddy with Hannah. Hannah contacts the guy and sends him 2 nudes and makes a video for him that's sexually explicit. She waits for her money. She doesn't get paid. She contacts the guy and he tells her that the photos and the videos aren't quite what he wants. He gives her some instructions: pose like this in the photo, have these actions, these activities in the video, redo that, and then I'll pay you. So she sends 2 more nude photos and a video. And then he asks for more. And she says, no, I'm not sending you any more. You haven't paid me yet. He says, look, Hannah, if you don't send me photos and videos when I tell you to, I'll share the photos and videos you have already sent with Maddie, who works for me, and she will send those to people you know. Hannah, do you want your friends to see the photos and videos you sent me? Now it is sextortion. Hannah doesn't want anyone to see what she has sent, so she continues to send images. Overall, she sent more than 30 images to the man before she decided she wasn't going to send anymore because he wasn't paying her. He followed through on his threat when she stopped sending photos and videos. He sent photos and a video of Hannah to Maddie and instructed Maddie to send them to people who knew Hannah. Maddie did as she was instructed. She sent the photos and video to 4 of Hannah's friends. One of those friends had heard a presentation like this before. She knew something wasn't right, and so she told an adult that she trusted. That adult had also been to a presentation like this and knew what to do. She contacted Hannah's mom, and that adult also contacted law enforcement. Hannah and her mom gave information to law enforcement, and then working with the FBI, they tracked the guy down. Local law enforcement had been trying to build a case against this guy in New Jersey, and that evidence from Hannah helped them finish their case and get him arrested. When they went to his home to arrest him, they found over 150 images of youth that he was extorting. So who is your trusted adult? In Hannah's story, the friend went to an adult that she trusted. In your head, who would you go to if you needed help? Who would you go to if a friend was in trouble? Would you go to a parent, a family member, a school counselor? Decide who it is that would be the trusted adult you would go to. And consider talking with your trusted adult ahead of time to let them know that you would want to come and talk to them if you were ever in a situation where you needed their help. And just remember, your trusted adult should always be someone who will actually help you. And a trusted adult is never going to be someone you have never met in person. So I want to talk about boys for just a moment. Oftentimes when people hear our presentation, they just assume that we are mainly talking about girls, and that is false. An FBI task force member we work with says that of the cases they work on that task force, 50% of the victims are boys. 50%, not 1%, not 25%. 50% boys, 50% girls. This is absolutely something that doesn't only happen to girls. I want to talk about the world of gaming a bit. Gaming is a recruitment tool traffickers use to find and lure teens into sex trafficking. To give you a better idea of how that could happen, I'm going to walk you through an imaginary scenario. Let's picture 4 boys. They're all boys in high school, all very involved in the world of gaming. They play in their favorite games together online often. One day, they meet a girl in the game. She's a very skilled player, and they decide that they want her on their team. A few weeks along, the person begins communicating with them outside of the game. Perhaps the girl takes it into Discord or another type of messaging app. She sends a message to one of the boys saying she'd like to get to know that boy better. And now imagine that she sends that same message to the other 3 boys and tells all 4 of them to keep it a secret. She is now grooming these 4 boys, building a relationship with them. Soon after, each of those 4 boys receives a nude photo of a 14-year-old, 15-year-old girl with the request that they send a nude photo in return. So all 4 boys comply and send this girl a nude photo of themselves. She has been baiting them for weeks, and now she has set that hook. When a young person sends a nude photo online, they lose control, as these boys have in this imaginary scenario. But what we want you to know is what can happen next. In most cases, when kids send a nude photo that ends up in the wrong hands, sextortion will occur. Demands for more sexually explicit images, like what happened with Hannah. Demands for money. And the or else will be, if they don't send images, don't send money, then the images will be shared with people that young person knows, friends and family. And in the worst case scenario, that can lead to an in-person meetup. It could be a child predator on the other end who sexually assaults the youth. Or it could be a trafficker whose end game is to sell this child for sex. And then for some teens, because they just don't see any way out, an end result might be suicide. So that's the imaginary story. But all of those sextortion facts are true. This family was tragically affected by the crime of sextortion. The young man in the football uniform, his name is Walker Montgomery. One night, he met a young female. He was on his phone up in his room, began chatting, flirting over social media, led to an exchange of sexually explicit content. Immediately following that, threats were made to Walker that sexually explicit content would be shared with his friends and family if he didn't send $1,000. After hours of stating that he didn't have money, Walker threatened to kill himself. The predator encouraged him to kill himself. Walker felt he had no way out, and he took his life. Unfortunately, Walker is not the only teen boy this has happened to. I could tell you story after story of young people just like Walker who experienced sextortion and chose to take their life. So getting help. If something like what we've just talked about is happening to you or does happen to you or one of your friends, try to remain calm. Your life is not over. There are people who can help you. Don't delete any of the content. Don't forward any of the content to someone else. Immediately block the person who is threatening you and do not respond to them. Tell your trusted adult what is happening. Have that adult help you contact law enforcement. Your trusted adult and law enforcement will help you get out of this situation. So some questions to ask yourself. Do you ever chat with people online who you've never met in real life, maybe through gaming or social media? If you do, consider the risks and the dangers of that. And then think about this. How much information is too much to share on social media? Things like sharing your location, posting snaps of yourself wearing a school t-shirt, that gives people information about where you live, where you go to school, where you hang out. And think about this. Would you ever meet someone in real life that you met online? Someone who you don't know, you only know online, and they ask you to keep things a secret and meet with them. Someone who loves and cares about you would never ask you to keep a secret. So in the world of social media, some things to consider. Perhaps make your accounts private. Predators can use anything they learn against you. So information in your bio, like your full name, where you go to school, where you go to college. It's very risky to put those things out there because a predator can use those. And then ask yourself this question: how do you actually know someone? A friend of a friend in social media is not actually someone you know. They might try to befriend you with the intent to get money or images from you. And I need you to keep this in mind. There's also a growing trend of AI generated content that can be created within seconds. A sexually explicit version is called AI deep fakes. Some of you might have heard when that happened to like Taylor Swift, but it's teens. So any type of picture you post online can be used to generate sexual content that you didn't create, but someone else does. Use caution. And then look at some of these posts that someone might make. I'm at home sick. I'm looking for some fun. My boyfriend has broken up with me. My girlfriend has broken up with me. What would be ways predators could use some of these posts to target you? What can a predator say to someone going through their parents divorcing, or someone who's feeling lonely or struggling with mental health? What could they say to them to begin to build a fake relationship? That process of building a fake relationship is called grooming. I'm going to watch a video now that was created by teens, just like you, on how the grooming process happens.
It doesn't always happen in a particular order. Grooming stages can begin at any point in any relationship. A predator doesn't care about what comes first. They only care about one thing.
Most of the time, it begins with a simple notification. Maybe they're a family friend, someone your parents know and trust, but they may not know them at all. It only takes one click.
After a few texts, a few conversations, a few calls, this person just really seems to get you.
They support you, listen to you, give you advice. Things have felt better around them than your family. They always end up asking. They ask your age, what school you go to, what your family is like, your relationships, your secrets. They know you pretty well.
They might say that they're the only one you should know. No one else cares about you. No one else will invest in you. No one else is to be trusted.
But then it just happens. They just happen to send you things, share links or pictures, things that you're not completely sure about. You heard about it. It might end up being a dirty message or a video on a porn site or something you've never really seen before.
But of course, they'll tell you it's okay. They'll reassure you that it's completely normal. Everyone does it.
Then, they might talk about some of it with you. The questions get a little more personal. The words they use, they're dirtier.
They're baiting you, and before you know it, they've set the hook, asking for something from you. Pictures of you, favors.
Something to show you care, something to prove your relationship, to show how close you are. Something that's completely normal.
This is grooming. One photo can open up a dark world of sextortion and abuse.
where just leaving is nearly impossible.
Victims are seen as product, a quick way to make money.
The predators will do anything to make sure it stays that way.
Pay attention, be vigilant, because it only takes one click to lose control of your life as you know it.
So the question is,
Will you take the bait?
Will you get hooked? Will you fall for their lures and lies?
So that video was made by students at Johnson High School to explain grooming. So what is the lure? It can be anything a teen is looking for. Love, acceptance, adventure, protection, whatever someone is lacking, and we're all lacking something. Traffickers are master manipulators, shapeshifters, who become whatever it is that they think their victim needs. They might offer food, shelter, drugs, alcohol. They might pretend to be a romantic girlfriend or boyfriend, a father figure. They quickly figure out what their victim needs. Then they use that as the lure to draw them in, manipulating young people into sexual exploitation. We're going to watch another video. It's the story of a girl who goes by the name of Lacey, and it's her story of being lured into being trafficked.
Do you know Lacey? She was born in your town about 15 years ago. She lives in your neighborhood. She goes to your school. She's in your youth group.
I went to a private Christian school. Wednesdays, I went to youth group from 7 to 9:30.
The day before her 13th birthday, a young boy known as a spotter approached Lacey in public. He invited her to her first party.
We were like, okay, well, we're going into 8th grade. We might as well get our first party out, you know, like, let's just go have fun.
That night would change Lacey's life forever.
I was sitting on the couch just listening to music. My friends were off dancing and stuff, and some really cute guy comes up and starts talking to me. And he was like, okay, well, maybe I'll see you around.
He made sure they ran into each other.
I was at Starbucks ordering a drink, and he had said, you know, hey, do you remember me? And I was like, no, sorry, no, don't remember you. And he's like, okay, well, I'm pretty sure I remember you.
He continued to stalk Lacey, learning her routine and approaching her multiple times in public places.
I went up to Safeway, and we were buying groceries because my mom was at work, and I seen him there too.
Lacey had no idea these encounters were intentional. She thought it was fate, so she agreed to get together with him.
We started going on like little dates, fake dates. You know, I started thinking, you know, he really did like me.
This dating period was used to gain Lacey's trust.
What I'd do is I would go to school on the bus, and then right when I got off the bus, I'd kind of just leave and go meet him down the street or something.
Lacey continued to see her stalker, and he slowly began to manipulate her more and more.
He bought me a dress, and it was like really special to me. It was like I felt like I was like a princess, like the queen or something. And he used to call me his queen.
Stop, go are the only sign she knows. She's trapped.
He kept saying that he needed money, and he was gonna lose his cars and his house and stuff, and he's not gonna have anywhere to go. So I was like, you know, I'll help you or whatever. And so we went to the strip club.
She had no idea that helping him meant he would rent her body out to lustful men of all ages, from all walks of life, night after night. But Lacey's boyfriend groomed and manipulated her. He changed her name, her clothing, the way she felt about herself. He forced her into doing horrible, unthinkable things.
That night, my first night, I got in the car with 3 people. I puked for about 30 minutes. And I don't know, I just couldn't stop crying.
Often Lacey was forced to have sex with 10 different men in one night, 6 nights a week.
After a while, you kind of get used to it. Like, everything that goes around. It just doesn't seem out of ordinary to you because you've been around it for a while.
It's night.
So in Lacey's story, what was the attraction lure? What first caught her attention? The invitation to the party. Maybe she was lonely, wanting attention, some adventure, something different. And what was the imitation? What was the imitator fake lure? The relationship. She thought it was fate, the dates, the attention. That's what was fake and lured her further in. And then at what point did she lose complete control? When she agreed to help him. Did any of you know someone like Lacey? She was a good student. She was involved in her church youth group. Sex trafficking can happen to anyone, but perhaps had Lacey learned about the lures and the lies before she went to that party, perhaps she would have recognized the signs and this wouldn't have happened to her. Always remember this. You're always one decision away from a completely different life, either good or bad. Think about all the stories you've heard. In each one, it was one decision that changed everything. I want to take a second to talk about pornography. We had mentioned it earlier. There is a direct connection between pornography and the commercial sex industry. This article headline comes from an organization called Fight the New Drug. They're a resource with decades of research on the negative impact of pornography. We don't have time to dive into this topic. However, it's important that you know that teenage girls make up the biggest slice of viewable pornography, meaning that if you are watching pornography, you are most likely seeing a teenage girl who is not there by choice. She may be a victim of sextortion, or her boyfriend has manipulated her into making pornography, or she is being forced into making content. Which do you think is more addictive, pornography or cocaine? They're actually the same. They both impact brain neurotransmitters in many people that can lead to addiction. If you find that you can't stop watching pornography, you may want to speak to someone you trust and ask for help. It's so much more common than you think, and you are not alone. So I want to talk about this a bit. Many people still believe that child sex trafficking in the United States has something to do with a white panel van pulling up in a store parking lot, grabbing a child or a teenager and driving off with them and then selling them to someone in another state or another country for $3,000. That is false. Of the stories I've told you today, the videos that you've seen of young people telling their story, which of those young people was abducted or kidnapped? None of them. And none of the survivors that we have ever worked with at Ransomed Life have been kidnapped or abducted. According to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, it is extremely rare that a child who goes missing has been abducted by a stranger. It happens very rarely, but even when it does happen, it's not about commercial sex trafficking. Keep in mind that most youth who go missing or run away go willingly with someone they know, or they think they know, or they think they can trust. And sometimes teens being exploited aren't even missing, like Hannah and Walker Montgomery. Sexual exploitation was happening to them while they were in their own homes. We're going to go through a little bit of a game here. We're going to just try and figure out if you can guess which one of several people are traffickers. So both of these women here on the screen have committed a crime. One of them was convicted of trafficking a 14-year-old girl. Which one do you think it is? The one with her hair down or the one with her hair back in the ponytail? The one on the left or the one on the right? Which one is the trafficker? If you guess the one with her hair down, the one on this side, that is the trafficker. She was convicted of trafficking a 14-year-old girl. Here's another one. Both of these men have committed a crime. One of them was convicted of trafficking 6 of his clients, one of whom was a minor. If you think it's the guy with the yellow tie with the suit on the left, or do you think it's the guy with the glasses on the right? Which one was convicted of trafficking 6 people, one of whom was a minor? If you guess the guy with the tie, the yellow tie, you guessed correctly. He was a San Antonio defense attorney. He was actually running for district judge at one point in time. There's another one. Both of these women have committed a crime. One of them was convicted of child sex trafficking. Which one? The one on the left with her hair over to the side, or the one on the right with her hair down? Which one of these 2 women do you think was convicted of trafficking? The one on the right. She worked with her boyfriend to traffic youth who were living on the streets in Houston and St. Louis, Missouri. One last. Both of these soldiers have committed a crime. One of them was convicted of trafficking a 13-year-old girl. If you think it's the one on the left with just the headshot, do you think it's the one on the right where we can see his full uniform? Which one of those soldiers trafficked a 13-year-old girl? The one on the right. He trafficked a 13-year-old girl and forced her to be in pornographic videos. So our goal here today is to empower you with knowledge. You need to know and understand things that put you at risk. Sexting is risky. How many of you had a friend or a romantic partner 2 years ago that you don't like anymore and they don't like you? Like that could be most of us, that we have someone that we used to like, they used to like us, and now we don't get along. What if 2 years ago you had given them a nude of yourself? Is it possible that now that they don't like you, they're mad at you, they could use that against you? No matter how much you think you can trust a person you send a nude to, you never know who's going to end up with that photo in the end. And then online relationships. Did Walker Montgomery think he was chatting with a predator that evening? No. You have no idea who people you meet online really are unless you know them personally. And then remember, what significantly increases your risk of getting pulled into sex trafficking? Running away from home. Remember, you always have another option. The Quick Trip convenience store gas station, or in San Antonio, any YMCA. And then know the clues. Isolation and secret relationships. If someone loves you, they want to meet the special people in your life. If someone is turning you against your friends, your family, trying to separate you and keep things a secret, you should have alarm bells going off in your head. Older relationships. How old was Ariel Guizal? 33. How old was Bianca Mendoza? She was 15, half his age. If your best friend, let's say your best friend is 14 years old, and your best friend comes to you and says they've fallen in love, and then they tell you the person that they've fallen in love with is a 7-year-old, a 14-year-old in love with someone half their age, a 7-year-old. That's messed up, right? What if your 14-year-old friend comes to you and says that a 28-year-old is in love with them, twice their age? That's just as messed up. That should set off alarm bells. And if someone is manipulating you and trying to control you, that would be a clue that something isn't right. So let me ask you this. Making a plan. Do you wait to put on your seatbelt to right before you get in a car crash? No, it's something you do ahead of time to keep yourself safe. So plan ahead. Who is your trusted adult? If someone is using sextortion on you or a friend, who is the adult you're going to talk to for help? And what would you do if someone was trying to manipulate or control you? Would you just go wrong? What would you do if a friend told you they had a secret relationship with a much older man that they just met online? Would you do nothing? Make a plan of what you would do if you or friends encounter this. Make a plan of how you would go to your trusted adult. And where would you go if you were out on the streets alone? Where would you tell a friend to go? Perhaps a relative. Perhaps stay with someone else. Perhaps go to a quick trip or a San Antonio YMCA. So I want to teach you guys this. This is the hand signal for help. If you've been on TikTok, you probably already know this, but we're going to do it together. Put your hand up in the air with your fingers up and your thumb out. Bring your thumb in and bring your fingers down. Do that a few times. If you ever see someone doing that, they are trying to get your help. You see that when you're walking down a street or out a car window. If you see someone doing this, call 911. Tell them where you are and what you're seeing. And if you are ever in help, you can use this to reach out to someone to potentially get help to you. And also, if you need to report something going on, go to your trusted adult. That might be a parent, a caregiver, maybe you know someone in law enforcement, a teacher at your school, someone you go to church with, your school counselor. Go to your trusted adult, and together, the two of you can figure out who you need to report to and how you need to report. And then if you're ever in a situation where you just need to get a hold of somebody for help on your own, if it's an emergency, call 911. In case of a non-emergency where you need help and you don't have a trusted adult to turn to right then, you can call or text 988 and you will be talking with someone who can help you in the midst of a crisis or when you just need someone to talk to because things aren't going well in your world. 911 or 988, and you can text 988 as well. So I want to make sure you all understand that what we're talking about here today is about you and your friends, not people somewhere else. At Ransomed Life, we work with young people from every school district in and around Bexar County and surrounding counties. This can happen to any of you. One of the biggest myths about child sex trafficking is that it's only victims who live in a particular part of town. That's false. The reality is that all risk are at use of being trafficked no matter where they live. This is a map representing the areas of town where young people we've worked with at Ransomed Life live. None of those are an exact address. Each of those hearts represents one or more people that we have worked with going back several years. As you can see, we have worked with survivors from every area around San Antonio and the surrounding areas. Some of these people have been actually sold for sex, and some have been exploited through pornography or sextortion. So at Ransomed Life, we have services to work with survivors. We provide prevention education as well, just like what we're doing here. Our trauma-informed counseling for youth is for 11 to 24-year-olds who have been sexually exploited or who are at high risk and need our help. We also offer mentoring as a part of our counseling services when our clients are therapeutically ready. If what we've talked about today has happened to you or ever does happen to you or someone you know, talk to your trusted adult about getting help from Ransomed Life. Remember, all those hearts on that map are people we have helped so that they can begin to heal. So I want to end kind of on this, and then I have one more thing I want to talk to you about. Your value as a human being, it has absolutely nothing to do with your body. I'll give you an example. This is a $20 bill. How much is my $20 bill worth? $20, right? What if I crumple it up? How much is my crumpled $20 bill worth? $20, right? What if I take it outside and I drop it in mud and I step on it and smash it with my foot and now it's all drippy and muddy and dirty? How much is this muddy $20 bill worth? $20, right? What about now? It's been ripped in two. How much is it worth? It's still worth $20 because all I have to do is tape it back together and I can take it to a store, I can take it to the bank. The point is this: no matter if you've been crumbled or stepped on or made dirty or torn apart, pulled apart, it has no impact on your value. You have value just because you are. So at Ransom Life, as I said, we have services to walk with survivors so they can begin to heal. But our hope is to stop this crime from ever taking place. Our goal is that no child would ever be sold in our city. Thank you all for your time today. We're available after our presentation when we meet in person. If you have questions, you can reach out to us at Ransom Life and we will answer those for you. Thank you for your time today.